Oh, the hillside garden. It's bouncing back a little bit. We finally had some rain, several days of rain a couple of weeks ago. Everything's nice and moist. And even though it's autumn and you'd think things would be slowing down, things are actually kind of bouncing back. And they've got, a couple more months to go of growth in our climate before the frosts really come in, like this graft pear that I grafted onto quince, which looked really dodgy. Now it's leafing out again, which is great. Then there's this peach, and I've mentioned peaches a few times. I can't focus it. There we go. Let's get back a bit. You can see it's leafing out again. Amazingly enough, there's seems like a bit of vigor left in there. So the rain and my mulching and probably some watering I did in late summer when it was really hot sort of brought it back from the brink. Let's see what else. Yeah, this fig, all the leaves dropped off. It was so dry. I mean, if a fig is suffering, you know it's hot. This is one I dug up from the roots, like a sucker from the main tree that I just replanted, and it's coming back. And now I see those leaves, I have absolutely no worries about that. Fig, it's going to grow, and it's going to grow huge. It's going to fill this whole space, I guarantee you. And it's going to be great for chop and drop and just for filling in, the whole area with greenery and biomass, because it's what we need. This pawpaw's in a terrible state, but the very fact the very fact there's a leaf alive on there might be some more coming out there as well. The fact that there are some leaves at all means, it did survive the drought, and it will carry on growing next year, although it's very slow growth, I have to admit. But this pawpaw, all the leaves fell off. It's died back, but I'm gonna check it out in spring, because I think it's happened before. This exact one. Look, we've got 2 shoots as well. It's put out new shoots from the roots, and third year lucky, maybe it will grow something that will be strong enough to survive. I think it's still alive down there, and it will hopefully regrow with renewed vigor next year. And not something I really grow these sort of, it is a perennial rhubarb. It's come back from the crown. I mean, I can't even describe how hot it's been, how dry, and how I watered it initially, and then when it died back in spring, I just gave up on it and thought, well, if it survives, it survives. And it survived. And I've got a couple more rhubarbs in other spots, and I'm going to, off camera at least, I'll go and check them out, see if they've survived as well. Another pawpaw, which lost all its leaves, and, even though it's still very early for autumn leaf drop, it looks, that's why it looks dead. But I just scraped a little bit of the bark back. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. It's green in there. It's green. So this is still alive, and it will come back next year. It didn't like the heat. The leaves dropped, but I think it's going to make it. These black currants I planted in spring, I'm not so confident about. This one dried out very early on, but it could still come back from the roots. But I think if I do this, it's completely dead. When it does that, it's dead. There's no green in there, there's no life in there. Let me just see. Well, yeah, it's dead in there, but let's hope there's something in the roots down there. Considering the horrific summer we had, I'm just counting my blessings, really. If anything has survived, I'll be grateful. Gooseberry, one I replanted a couple of years ago, which I split up from a bigger plant, and that doesn't look too hopeful. It'd be a shame if that died, because gooseberries are really resilient. I mean, they don't need watering, they can survive drought conditions, but it's just been brutal this summer, and so there's always the hope it'll come back from the roots next year. But I've got it labelled, so we'll check it out in spring and see what happens. This sea berry just about survived. and I've got it labelled as female, so I'm glad that one survived. And so that'll be just fine next year. I mean, considering the conditions, you know, people say seaberry is a pioneer, it's resilient, blah blah, but it's not a desert plant, and it does need some water, you know. And the 40-degree temperatures just do not agree with it, as we can see in the case of this one, which is nicely mulched and everything, but unfortunately, you know, it survived one summer, but this one not. I mean, again, the roots might still be alive. It might put out suckers, which would be pretty cool. Go and check out Edible Acres video about suckering sea berries. At the time of me putting this video out, he's just done one recently. You know, I'm hoping mine will sucker like that, or at least come back from the roots. But it'd be a real shame because this survived one summer, so this is the second summer, and it was just too much for it. So you know, a lot of stuff has survived, but I think when we add up the cost of this summer, it's going to be pretty huge, and it's going to set me back quite a lot. But you know, we can still be hopeful because things can survive even the worst conditions. And just looking around, I'm looking for another positive example. Yes, blackberry. I planted blackberries from some I just dug up from the forest that look nice and prolific, and yeah, it looked dead, and look, now it's coming back. So I'm absolutely confident about blackberry as well, that it's going to eventually fill up this space and hopefully provide me with a nice blackberry patch in this whole area. Here's another one. That's the one I was looking for. And yep, something coming up. So great. You know, I had this big long runner and I thought, great, look at this long runner, and it just all died. But now it's coming back from the roots, and that's the more healthy growth. You know, when it comes back from the roots, you know, it's the roots that are strong and healthy. It's not trying to sustain a great big long thing like this. It's growing natural growth from the roots, and I think that blackberry is just going to be fine. Oh yeah, and how could we forget grass, of course. Look at this. I could never grow a nice green lawn like this if I wanted to, but it's all coming down from the compost heap, and this is absolutely lush here. And oh look, this is actually, you wouldn't recognize it, but that's comfrey, and comfrey's coming up from the ground as well. That was completely bone dry, dead. Now the comfrey's coming back as well. So I guess I just wanted to say, you know, with this video, that nature is incredibly resilient. We will lose stuff, but it's also amazing how much stuff will grow in even in the most brutal temperatures. And I just still think though that I need to, you know, look at the species I'm growing and decide, you know, is it really realistic to grow honeyberry in this climate, which I didn't show you the honeyberry, that's dead as well as far as I can see, or pawpaw, you know, which does like a bit of heat apparently, but you know, this much, I don't know, it likes water as well, and we haven't got that. So you know, you have to kind of adapt, but at the same time keep planting and it'll grow, I guess.